Can we do some quotes and talk
you
about
can
them?
talk about
You don't
anything
mind? All right, you have said in the book, I've known every president since Harry Truman, and there's no question in my mind that Ronald Reagan was the worst. It was sinful that Ronald Reagan ever became president. The thoughts behind that?
Well, in a period of 6 years working with the president, I don't know how many times I was invited to the White House. I only went to the White House, of course, on invitation. I wasn't an advisor to the president. I was the opposition. And usually on Tuesday mornings we would go over there and he would inform us what the messages would be that would be coming to the Congress and what legislation he was interested in, things of that nature. Whenever we went over there, he always operated from a 3x5 card. He never got into a dialogue with the leadership himself. He would always turn the meeting over. If it was a foreign affairs matter to Schultz, it was a defense matter to Weinberger, transportation matter to Dole, to his cabinet people. He wasn't very deep in the subjects when you compared him with other presidents, and Nixon was a brilliant man, and so was Jimmy Carter, and Jerry Ford. And so as I analyzed the president, you don't become president of the United States by accident. You have to have ability and talent. But I have to say that he was a lazy fellow. He never did his homework, never paid attention to the briefings. He was never well prepared. And oftentimes, as I watched him give the State of the Union message, and he would thrill the nation, because he could handle the media better than any man that we have ever had in the history of this government, but he was merely talking words like an actor that had prepared a script.
You write about the biggest blowout that you and Ronald Reagan had, and it was a very disturbing story.
Well, it was, one day we were talking about the unemployment figures, and they didn't seem to be moving. There were about 12 pockets of depression, real unemployment, Youngstown, Ohio, and things of that nature, where the unemployment rate was in double figures. And Reagan said, well, there's jobs for everybody. Did you see the Washington Post this weekend? There's 35 pages of jobs. Very sophisticated jobs. The average person that was looking for a job couldn't qualify. And they'd say, well, you know, he said, unemployment compensation, we're paying too much for the unemployment compensation. Person goes on unemployment compensation, and he calls up looking for a job. And the second week he calls up. And the third week they have a job for him. Then you can't find him. He really doesn't want to go to work. I said, hey, Mr. President, you talk to me like that? I said, you mean the people in Youngstown where the steel mills have all closed, 50% of the people on unemployment compensation? You mean to tell me that their pride doesn't want them to go back and earn a living in the American style and the American family to support their people and have better education and things like that? I said, your trouble with my opinion is you haven't grown in the 5 years you've been president of the United States. You're still selling the same stuff, and I don't believe it, Mr. President. I think you're wrong. Well, Senator Simpson from Wyoming, he said, this is awful. He said, you the leader of the opposition and the president and the leader of the free world, and he says, you have this bickering like this. He says, it's wrong. And he said, it always gets into the press. Well, I said, I have the highest respect for the President of the United States and the title as the President, but I said, I'm the leader of the opposition, and I can't have him say these remarks. I said, people would think that I'm acquiescing to what he says. When you go out, they'll say, did Tip O'Neill respond? So I have to respond and tell you my opinion. Well, that was a real... Well, he said to me, you know, I said, I have the highest respect. He said, I don't think you have the respect for me. I said, Mr. President, that is true. I've got the greatest respect for you.